How's it going, bro? And welcome back to another video. Uh, whatever. My number 51. 51. Which is gonna be. It's gonna be weird because, well, it. I guess you could call it a creepypasta, but I won't call it that. I'll call it gruesome. That's what I'm gonna call it. I haven't read it though, but what? And this is gonna be my first time reading it, and it's gonna be my reaction towards it, and hopefully it turns out good, cause I don't know. Hopefully it does turn out better than I expected. Fucking hair. Better. Bang. 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 Anyway, the story I'm gonna be reading today is Sweet Apple Massacre. As like you haven't read the title. Anyway, and hopefully it turns out good. And well, I'm kind of worried about this one because, well, come on, Massacre and Big Apple Massacre. Down sound nice. That doesn't sound nice. So I'm gonna react to this video, react to the story. Hopefully, I don't fuck up. And we begin. Big Macintosh surveyed the many apple trees that formed up Sweet Apple Acres. Damn people. It was nearly apple bucking season once again, and it looked as though they would be having a bumper harvest this year. He nodded satisfied. His sister Applejack walked up beside him. That's what we do. Whoa, bar howdy. I sure am glad you aren't injured this time, Big Macintosh, she said. Why, there's even more apples on the trees than last year. Yup, Big Macintosh replied, in his characteristic manner. Them a lot of apples. A lot of apples. I like apples. You both like apples? Applejack was silent for the moment, enjoying the feel of the slight breeze against her blonde mane. She has a blonde mane? I thought it was yellow. Yellow mane. Ha. Say, I don't suppose you've seen Apple Bloom anywhere, have you? I've been looking for her all day, and she ain't nowhere to be found. I really hope no one enters. I really hope. Goddamn people. Don't got no privacy. Big Macintosh shook his head. So, sorry sis. I can't say I have. Darn. That silly filly's probably gone off somewhere with her friends. I just hope she ain't getting herself into mishaps, or else they'll have to pay. Exclamation point. Ah! Don't don't you go worrying yourself, Applejack, he replied. I'm sure she's perfectly fine. But anyway, I need to go back to the barn. I gotta go and press some apples for some of my home brewed apple cider. Oh no. I hoof packed a few apples earlier specifically, all nice and plump and ripe, and they ain't gonna press themselves. Applejack laughed. Ha! Ah, ah, ah. You sure do love your cider, don't you? Just make sure Apple Bloom don't get her hooves on it again. We all know what happened last time. Big Macintosh chuckled along with his sister. Yup. And I chuckled along. The large red pony trotted back to the barn and gently closed the door. He opened the trap door with his mouth and went down the stairs into an old disused cellar. Disused apple cellar. I had it. Why didn't I not say it? Usually it was filled with junk, scrap metal, um, old worn out thongs, old rope, and various other bits and bobs that had other lived their usefulness. Big Macintosh often came down here when he wanted to get away from the world, to withdraw for a little while for some peace and quiet. Today was different, however. The old rope at last had found a new use because in cellar space where Apple Bloom and her fellow Cutie Mark Crusaders, Sweetie Belle and Scootaloo, bound and gagged, propped up against the wall. Three pairs of three pairs of scared, round eyes looked up at Big Macintosh, as he approached. "Now then, you three fillies," he said, and pleased as ever, "you need to learn a lesson. You need to learn not to mess around with Big Macintosh. All I want is some peace and quiet," he said, looking directly at Apple Bloom. Oh my god. The little red-haired filly cowered under his gaze. "All I want is a quiet life, without all you Cutie Mark Crusaders ruining around the place, making with the noise. When I'm finished with y'all, there's going to be no nonsense from you ever again." That was weird. Big Macintosh approached Scootaloo. Scootaloo flapped her wings, struggled to get off the ground. Big Macintosh laughed. He grabbed one of her wings. He twisted it and... What? He twisted it. At first, at first slow, watching the pain visibly grow in her eyes. What? But then turn hard, simply slide. What the fuck? Simply smiling slightly when he heard the snap and the muffled whimper that came from Scootaloo. He then threw her to the ground. Mm. Why am I reading this? Why am I reading this? Your wings are useless, you silly filly, he said pleasantly. He then went to the toolbox and took out a rusty knife with a jagged blade and dropped it in front of the three fillies. "I'm gonna take those gags now," he said. "The first one of you to scream gets their tongues cut off." The fuck? The actual fuck? uh, God. It's already a story and I'm kinda disturbed. He took off Sweetie Belle's gag first. She looked up at him with terror, but managed to stay quiet. Next was Scootaloo. She let out a strangled whine and was breathing heavily, still in horrendous pain from her broken wings, but managed to resist the temptation. Finally, he removed the gag from his sister, Apple Bloom. Wait, what? Apple Bloom? You sure about that, bro? Yeah, that's what. Ah, damn. She started. She started. Uh, she stared at him with large round eyes, filled with fear and incomprehension. This was Big Macintosh, after all. Her big brother, the gentlest of souls. Wasn't he? Surely this was just a horrible joke, but she had seen what he'd done to Scootaloo's wing, and it was definitely no joke. She took a deep breath. "Applejack!" Big Macintosh shoved his hoof in Apple Bloom's mouth, silencing her scream. Her he slid his shock and shook his head. Hey, let me get closer. Hi. McIntosh shoved his hoof in Apple Bloom's mouth, silencing her scream. He sighed and shook his head. I told you not to scream, Apple Bloom. You should have listened to your big brother. Uh, I'll scream. I'll, and scream again. And Applejack will hear. And Apple Bloom said frighteningly, You know, I kinda hope you do. After all, I still ain't forgiven Applejack for that injury she gave me last Applebuck season. If you want Applejack to join y'all down here, screaming away, I, for one, would welcome her company. But now, to business. Big Macintosh picked up the knife and loomed over the fuck. My bad. And loomed over the crawling Apple Bloom. He pinned her down with a powerful hoof and struck the knife into Apple Bloom's mouth. Apple Bloom vomited at the sight of the thick yellow crackles with adisic. Ah, anyway. The thick yellow chunks of adisic, so far bold. Smelling liquid spattering heavily on the floor, Scootaloo managed not to be sick, but rather gasping and sobbing, and choking with panic. Big Macintosh forced open Apple Bloom's mouth and with some effort cut out her tongue. Apple Bloom tried to scream, but her mouth was too filled of blood, so it was more of a muttered gulp. After a short while, she collapsed, tears streaming from her face, falling unconscious from the shock and the pain. Big Macintosh then took the tongue and rolled it in a puddle of putrid vomit on the floor. He smiled at Scootaloo. We are hungry? Scootaloo shook her head vigorously and cast him a different glare. If Rainbow Dash was here, she would kick the crap out of you. You maniac. No, that was her voice. Alright. Big Macintosh struggled. Well, she ain't, and anyway, I won't be so sure about that. Rainbow Dash isn't as tough as she likes to make out. He shoved the vomit-covered tongue into Scootaloo's mouth and used his hoof to clamp her mouth shut. Don't you go trying to spit out now, he said calmly. With a little laugh, and the filly struggled and squirmed. Didn't your mother ever told you how important it is to chew your food? Scootaloo closed her eyes and flapped her one good wing desperately, eventually swallowing Apple Bloom's tongue. Big Macintosh, still holding the what the fuck? Still holding the rat. I kinda don't want to continue. But fuck. See what I do for you people. See what I do. Big Macintosh still holding the raffing Scootaloo down with his strong hooves. He mounted the orange filly and slid his. What? What? Oh my god, what the fuck? What the fuck? That ain't right. What? Oh, what the fuck? Okay, I gotta do this. It's for the reading. It's for the reading. I'm gonna enjoy this. Still holding the rafting Scootaloo down with his strong hooves. Dan mounted the orange filling and slid his penis into her tight vagina pussy. See? See? I told you. I kind of... Moving on! Briefing her several minutes while Scootaloo, Sweetie Belle watched, tampering with revulsion. Apple Bloom was still out cold, blood pouring. Cutie Mark Crusaders rape victims, Big Macintosh said with a tender monkey as he fucked Scootaloo. Following by a gentle chuckle, guess y'all find your purpose in life now. Your special talent is getting raped. Hurry up. What the fuck? Why am I reading this? You bastards, you cold bastards. No one told me to read it, but I read it. Why did I read this? Onwards. Eventually he withdrew from Scootaloo and gripped her head tight and repeatedly punched her hard with a hoof in the face, causing her nose to shatter and spit and spot with blood. He scooped up some of the blood and some of Sweetie Belle's vomit with his tongue and held it in his mouth so that it mixed with his saliva, and then brought his mouth close to Scootaloo's and spat the rank mixture into her mouth. He clamped his hoof over her mouth and held her nose until she gagged and eventually had no choice but to swallow. That will never leave my mind. It is insane. What do I do for you to deserve this? What? Tell me. What do I do? What did I do? You guys are probably enjoying this, aren't you? Sick bastards. As Scootaloo reached and spat and cried, he turned to Sweetie Belle. As Scootaloo reached and spat and cried, he turned to Sweetie Belle. He grabbed her easily. Hopefully you could have heard me. That would have sucked. Read the story again. Hell no. As she was too shocked and traumatized to respond, and with apparent arousement, he rammed his horn up Scootaloo's ass. The horn was too big and hot, so the skin around Scootaloo's ass ripped and blood and fecal matter first trickled and then poured. That's a beautiful sight, as well as urine as Scootaloo pissed herself. You keep doing that, Sweetie Belle, he said. The unicorn cried and pushed her horn up Scootaloo's anus, slowly but surely. Her normally well-groomed pink and purple mane was now stained with reddish brown, glistening with the witness of the piss and blood. If y'all stop, I'll come over there and get creative. I may seem a bit dense, but I'm actually quite a creative stallion. You know? Big Macintosh said with a wink. Yep. Fuck you, man. Fuck you. Just fuck you. Why must you? Oh, what the fuck am I reading? He went to Apple Bloom and penetrated his little sister's unconscious body with his hard cock, while he wh- while he violated her and another knife, this one sharp and shining, and slid open her flank, causing her glistening intestines to flop out wetly onto the floor. He glanced over and was pleased to see that Sweetie Belle was still using her horn to annually penetrate Scootaloo, and her face was now completely covered in blood and feces and urine. He turned his attention back to Apple Bloom and scooped up her crimson entrails and wrapped them around her neck, still fucking the filly. I kinda don't wanna continue. And with his front hooves he pulled and pulled until it was wrapped so tightly around Apple Bloom's neck, and it broke her windpipe, and she was now surely dead. But Big Macintosh continued fucking her furiously until her body began to lose form and collapsed onto the quivering atmosphere mess of fur and blood and flesh. The premium uh, the Purium had fallen away, leaving a single red and raw gaping void. He he oh god. He cried on he carried on until he was fucking nothing but a single swollen and bloody orifices. I hope no one comes in while I'm reading this, I really do. This is gotta be the things I do for you people. Why am I reading this? Why am I reading this? Oh, I lost my place. God damn it, man. Toaster said no. But he carried on until he was fucking nothing but a single swollen and bloody orifices, and then discarded his baby sister's carcass, and though she were nothing more than a rotten apple core. That's descriptive. Who is the sick fuck who did this? He then took the knife and grabbed Sweetie Belle and tossed her aside. He forced himself onto Scootaloo's remaining anus, and then took the knife and cut her as took the knife and cut from her ass in a sweeping motion up to her belly. And when her inwards fell out, he what am I reading? This is just horrible. Horrible, 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 horrible. As much of a reaction video than a reading. People are fucked up, but I love people. They make this world interesting. No? He forced himself into Scootaloo's ruined anus, and then took the knife and cut from her eye in a sweeping motion up to her belly, and all her entrails fell out. He then grabbed her head, twisted and tore it clean off, usually his amusing strength, and fucked it in the mouth, and then tossed it aside. He then had sex with her headless body, both in the vagina and the ass, until he got bored. What am I reading? Seriously, what am I reading? What am I? I don't gotta read this. I really don't. But fuck. 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 Damn you, Grimlock. Just damn you. Why? Why? Sweetie Belle was the last remaining Cutie Mark Crusader. She was She was herself nauseated stench of blood, shit and piss that covered her horn and her face. Big Macintosh pinned Sweetie Belle down with his hoof and plunged the knife into her green eye and twisted, causing various fluids to dribble out onto the handle. At that, Sooty Belle let out a tremble whine and involuntarily emptied her bowels, and the aroma of flesh, urine, and feces filled the apple cellar once again. Once again? The fuck is that supposed to be? Once again. I know it means when they did the whole shit, but kind of makes you wonder, what if he did this again before? My fucking feet sleep. God damn, what the hell story is this? What the hell story is this? I'm bitching too much. Read the damn story already. The god damn. The shit I read for you guys. This is at least a bit worse than fucking cupcakes. I mean, I couldn't eat cupcakes for a fucking month. But other than that, then fuck. I'm never gonna look at Macintosh the same again. The quiet ones are the ones who are fucking psychotic. Holy fuck. Holy fuck. It's always the quiet ones. Let's continue this. Because, well, why not? Huh? I know I already read this, but fuck, I love it. Emptied her vials, and the aroma of flesh, urine, and feces filled the apple cellar once more. He withdrew the knife and did the same to the other eye, each time holding her tight and striking his hoof into her mouth to silence her agonizing scream. He licked the various fluids that had leaked into the knife, and then what the fuck? If I wasn't listening to music right now, I'll be vomiting. Holy fuck. Let's continue. Methodically began cutting and hacking at her front left hoof using her rusty knife. The knife was quite blunt, so it took a Herculean effort to get through the skin, bone, and cartilage, but eventually the bones splitted and the left leg came off. He did the same to her other leg, until all four was amputated and nothing remained but stumps. Bloody stumps. I'm gonna power through this. Power through this. I'm almost finished. Fuck this story. At this point, Sweetie Belle had passed down, the overwhelming pain too much of her to bear. Oh. He then used the knife to gouge out her left eye and jammed his penis into her eye socket, penetrating rapidly deep into her brain. Enjoying how tight her skull felt around his hard staff and how warm and squishy the brain matter felt against the tip of his throbbing penis. As he did, he twisted Sweetie Belle's neck after he had finished skull fucking her. Literally skull fucking her. He cracked open her skull with a swift stomp of his hoof and bent down and ate some of the exposed brain, taking care to spit out a few fragments of skull bone that he had mixed into his chewed. It was warm and slimy at thought, and and stuck to back of his throat, and stick to the back of his throat. He swallowed, and then he raped Sweetie Belle in the ass until it tore open, and his engorged penis was smeared with what little fecal matter remained in her rectum. That's yeah. There's more. Holy fuck, there's more. Why am I reading this? Why am I reading this? He took one of Sweetie Belle's detached legs and shoved it inside her ass, and then fucked Apple Bloom and Scootaloo's bodies the same way, forced to amputate them in. Hoofless as far as it could go. He he thought how strange it was that the still lumps of torn flesh that he was fucking with Scootaloo's Sweetie Belle's leg had been so vibrant and alive such a short time ago. But now all three were dead, and he finished by squirting his voluminous load into Apple Bloom's discarded backside. He watched with satisfaction as the semen of blood and shit mixed together, forming a filled maroon blood pool. He bent down and gently lapped up some of it with his tongue, pressed his tongue deep into her anal cavity so as not to miss any, letting some dripping down his chin. It tasted foul and, of course, and ranchy, tangy, slimy that burned his tongue, but it felt so satisfying. He swallowed the filly goo and wrapped his mouth with a hoof. It was done. Big Macintosh would finally get his peace and quiet. Big Macintosh, you're down here? Oh, wow, why not? Why fucking not? You people. It was Applejack. He looked at the disfigured corpses of the three fillies, all now broadly recognizable, barely recognizable as the oh so cute cutie mark crusaders, and realized he felt strangely unsatisfied. It had all been a bit too quickly and easy. Now Applejack, that would be a challenge. Of course it would. She was Ponyville's best athlete, after all. She had had a prize pony. She had had the prize pony of Ponyville trophy to prove it, and of course, he still hasn't forgiven her for that injury. He felt his penis stiffening once again, and what the fuck? And then we passed what the fuck, and I just went into like, okay, what the fuck? Let's just finish this. Anticipation. Hey, Big Mac. I said, are you down there? Came Applejack's littering voice again. This time more insistent. Big Macintosh replies seriously, I sure am, sis. Hey, come down here a minute. I got something to show you. Sure thing. What is it? It's a surprise. Oh boy, I sure do love surprises. Something real nice, I bet. Ugh. something real nice. Big Macintosh looked at the mangled, muttered remains of the Kunima Crusaders, and his lip curled into a thin smile. Yup. Oh, fuck the actual fuck. Oh my god, what the fuck did I just read? That was horrible. Pure, pure horrible. And I read it for you guys. Like if you enjoyed, know why you would enjoy this. Comment, subscribe. No more Grimlocks for a while. That's for sure. Except when I reach 100 videos. And then it's time for cupcakes, which is gonna suck. See you guys in the next video or whatever I make. I'm done. I'm done for today. No.